Phantom limb. You wake up in a hospital bed, you reach down to scratch your leg, but your hand just passes through empty air where your knee used to be, and the itch is still there, impossible to scratch. That's phantom limb sensation, where your brain keeps receiving signals from a body part that's no longer there. The human brain has a detailed map of our entire body, but when we lose a limb, that map doesn't just erase itself, it keeps expecting input from the missing arm or leg. Like a GPS still showing a road that was demolished years ago, the brain will fill in the blanks with sensations that feel completely real, from tingling to warmth, and even the feeling that you can wiggle toes that no longer exist. Around 80% of amputees experience this phantom limb sensation at some point, but what's even stranger is the way that you get rid of it. In the 1990s, neuroscientist V.S. Ramachandran invented a simple mirror box to trick the brain. Patients watch their other healthy limb move in a mirror, creating the illusion that the phantom limb is moving freely. The brain sees the reflection, believes it, and the sensation just goes away. So if you ever experience this, gaslighting your brain might actually be your best option. Phantom touch. A finger taps your shoulder twice. You turn around, but there's no one there, just you in an empty room. That's phantom touch, where your brain registers physical contact that never actually happened. Phantom touch occurs when your brain mistakes random nerve signals for someone actually touching you. So it's not always ghosts. Your skin has millions of nerve endings constantly sending data to your brain. Sometimes these signals get crossed, a random nerve fires, and your brain interprets it as touch. It usually hits areas with high concentrations of nerve endings, like your hands or face. VR users experience this constantly. Spend enough time in VR, and your brain starts generating touch sensations when other avatars get close to you, even though nothing is physically there. 89% of participants in a 2023 study reported feeling a tingling sensation when a virtual stick touched their virtual hand. The interesting part is that stress and fatigue make it significantly worse. The more exhausted you are, the more likely your brain is to mistake random signals as real physical touch. Phantom phone. Nothing there? Welcome to phantom phone vibration. This happens because our brains learn to associate that specific spot where we carry our phone with incoming notifications. Any minor sensation in that area, like a muscle twitch, fabric shifting, or just a slight pressure change, can get interpreted as a vibration. But it doesn't stop there. Some people actually hear their notification sound from across the room, except the phone is on silent. Others might feel the weight of the phone pressing against their leg when their phone is actually on the table. About 85% of people have reported experiencing this phantom phone sensation at some point. Your nervous system has just become so conditioned to your phone being in that exact location that it starts hallucinating when it's not there. But here's the twist. The more frequently you check your phone, the more phantom sensations you experience, with heavier users reporting feeling them multiple times per day. Exploding head. You're finally drifting off to sleep after a long day. Your body is relaxed, your thoughts are getting blurry, and then a loud bang erupts in your skull. You'll jolt awake, but the room is silent. The explosion happened entirely inside your head. That's exploding head syndrome, and yes, that's the actual medical term. It happens when your brain doesn't fall asleep properly. The parts of your brain that handle sound are supposed to shut down slowly, but sometimes, right when you're about to start dreaming, they all fire at once, turning your skull into a nuclear testing ground. A Washington State University study found that 18% of college students had experienced this at least once, and more than a third of those who had it also reported experiencing sleep paralysis, which makes sense because the same part of the brain is responsible for both. The strange thing is that some people also see a bright flash of light along with the sound, like their brain is adding visual effects to the fake explosion. It's completely harmless and usually goes away on its own, but good luck explaining to someone that you explode every time you try to fall asleep. They might think you're talking about something else. Phantom presence. You're alone, reading a book on the couch, when the feeling creeps in. Someone is standing right behind you. You can sense them there, just over your shoulder, watching. But when you finally gather the courage to turn around, there's no one there. That feeling of absolute certainty that another person is in the room when you're alone is phantom presence. This happens when the brain's system for detecting other humans glitches out. Your mind is constantly checking the environment around you for social cues, movement, and even subtle sounds that show another person is close by. When those brain circuits activate without actual inputs, the result is an overwhelming feeling that someone is there. Phantom presence is most likely to happen during sleep paralysis, extreme fatigue, and periods of intense stress or isolation. Mountaineers call this the third man. During dangerous high altitude climbs, exhausted climbers frequently report feeling a silent companion walking beside them. And sailors who are alone at sea have also described having conversations with people who weren't even there. Phantom presence often feels like it has a specific location. It's not just a vague feeling of not being alone. You know exactly where the phantom person is, even though you can't see them. Phantom sound. Faint music is playing somewhere in the house. A woman singing, or maybe a choir drifting from down the hall. You'll check every room, TV's off, no radio, no neighbors, but the sound is still there, refusing to go away. That's phantom sound, and it's way creepier than just your ears ringing. Unlike simple tinnitus, these aren't just ringing or buzzing noises. Phantom sounds can be complex, actual melodies, whispered conversations, or even familiar ambient noises. That computer fan you've been hearing for hours while gaming, step away from your desk, and your brain might keep generating the sound even though the source is gone. When phantom sound involves recognizable music, it's called musical ear syndrome. And it's surprisingly common in people with hearing loss because the brain compensates for missing sounds by generating its own. The thing is, your brain constantly expects noise, and when it doesn't get enough, it starts filling in the silence with its own. Phantosmia. You just came back home after work, but something's not right. You smell smoke. Something is burning. The smell is everywhere and nowhere. And when you ask someone else, they don't know what you're talking about. That's phantosmia, the sensation of smelling things that aren't there. This happens when the nerves in your nose misfire, sending fake signals to your brain. The most common phantom smells are burning, smoke, chemicals, and something rotting. Pleasant phantom smells, on the other hand, are actually rare. For some reason, our brains default to making stuff that smells awful. This affects roughly 1 in 15 people at some point in their lives. Sinus infections, head injuries, migraines, and certain medications can all trigger different phantom smells. Most cases are completely harmless, but if you've been smelling burnt toast for 3 weeks straight, it might be worth mentioning to a doctor. Phantom drop. This is one of the weirdest phantom sensations because it's so specific. It's not just pressure or smell, it's the exact feeling of liquid on your skin. Your brain is somehow generating the realistic feel of water without any water being present. But here's the deal, there's actually no such thing as a wetness nerve. Our body literally cannot detect water. Instead, at a young age, the brain learns what wet feels like by combining cold and pressure, and now it just guesses every time. This is why you sometimes feel wet when air conditioning blows on you or when you touch certain smooth surfaces. Your brain is making an educated guess based on incomplete data, and sometimes it just guesses wrong. Phantom drop is way more common than most people realize because it's so easy to dismiss. You feel a drip, check, find nothing, and will move on without thinking about it. Comment below if you've ever experienced any of these sensations, and if you enjoyed this video, consider supporting the channel using the link below. Your support directly helps us create more videos like this.